Shortly after midnight, October 2022, Darwin Airport. A man steps off a plane. He is the national president of one of Australia's most powerful outlaw motorcycle clubs. He has spent years building an organization that stretches from the Gold Coast to the top end. He has survived gang wars, police raids, and the kind of internal politics that ends most careers in the underworld permanently. He steps through the terminal. Police are waiting. 18 months of surveillance. One airport arrival. Done. His name is Nick Forbes, known as the Knife. And the night he landed in Darwin, he had no idea that what was waiting for him at the gate was not just an arrest. It was a diagnosis that would change everything that came after. Thank you for watching our video. Don't forget to hit subscribe to support us. That is exactly what keeps us going and gives us the motivation to keep making videos like this one. Now, let's go back to where this story starts. Nick Forbes did not start at the top. He built there, inside one of Australia's most violent domestic motorcycle clubs. The Finks MCA, Queensland-based organisation with a reputation for exactly the kind of confrontational, territorial violence that the bikie world both feared and respected. Forbes earned the nickname The Knife through a career inside the Finks that left no ambiguity about who he was or how he operated. In 2013, he makes the decision that changes the entire landscape of Australian outlaw motorcycle culture. Forbes leads a significant defection of Finks members across to the Mongols Motorcycle Club, an American-founded organisation with international chapters. The kind of brand recognition in the criminal world that a domestic Australian club could never match. The defection is not a betrayal in the conventional sense, it is a strategic calculation. More power, more reach, more protection from the increasing pressure of Australian anti-bikie legislation that was making domestic club membership increasingly difficult to operate under. The result is immediate. The Mongols, bolstered by Forbes and the Finks members who follow him, become a dominant force in Australian methamphetamine distribution almost overnight. Forbes rises to national president. He is based on the Gold Coast. He runs chapters from coast to coast, and for nearly a decade, he runs them without a major law enforcement operation landing directly on him. The Mongols hold a national run in the Northern Territory, Alice Springs to Darwin. The kind of event that in outlaw motorcycle culture serves as both celebration and demonstration. A show of numbers, of unity, of territorial presence. What it also does, in the specific context of 2021 and 2022, is concentrate leadership, members, and associates in one place, on one route, across an extended period. Detective Superintendent Lee Morgan of NT Police is direct about what that run produced. The gang's national run from Alice Springs to Darwin allowed police to gather information, intelligence, and evidence. 18 months of Operation Morley follows. Surveillance, intelligence gathering, building a case that goes beyond the standard drug supply charges and into the specific conduct of the organization's leadership. Forbes is based on the Gold Coast, not in the Northern Territory, but the operation reaches him anyway. Because what Operation Morley is targeting is not geography. It is the command structure. And the national president sits at the top of the command structure, regardless of where he sleeps. Shortly after midnight in October 2022, Forbes steps off a plane at Darwin Airport. NT police arrest him at the gate. He is remanded in custody. The charges? Commercial drug supply, extortion, conspiring to pervert the course of justice, recklessly endangering serious harm, aggravated assault, and unlawful possession of firearms. Across the full Operation Morley sweep, 40 alleged Mongols members and associates arrested, 140 offences submitted, 34 firearms seized, $500,000 in cash, the national president, the local NT president, the sergeant-at-arms, all arrested as part of the same operation. Detective Superintendent Morgan says something worth noting about what comes next. While the Mongols had been the operation's primary focus so far, police would turn their attention to other motorcycle gangs for the following 18 months. They would target gang members' neighbors, friends, families, and associates. We'll use any opportunity to find a way in and make a difference in this space. The operation does not end with Forbes in custody, it pivots. At the same time as his arrest, Forbes receives a diagnosis: prostate cancer. The man who built his reputation as the Knife, who led hundreds of men across Australia through a defection that reshaped the criminal landscape, who survived gang wars and police operations and the specific internal violence of the outlaw motorcycle world, is now fighting something that cannot be punched, stabbed, or outmaneuvered. The combination of the arrest and the diagnosis produces a decision that the charges alone might not have. Forbes steps down as national president of the Mongols. He hands the position to Tyrone Poole, a man described in reporting as his successor. The transition is framed publicly around his medical situation and the legal proceedings ahead of him. Whether it is a genuine withdrawal from influence or a structural reorganization of the kind that this series has now documented repeatedly across multiple organizations, the public record does not definitively answer. What it does show: the man who led the defection of 2013 and built the Mongols into a dominant force in Australian organised crime stepped back from the position that made him the primary target. While facing cancer treatment and an array of serious criminal charges simultaneously. Finks MC. Years of building a reputation under the nickname The Knife. Adelaide nightclub brawl, 2011. Caught on security footage. Charges follow. The 2013 defection led a significant portion of Finks membership to the Mongols, reshaping Australian outlaw motorcycle culture. National President of the Mongols, Gold Coast-based, chapters nationwide. The National Run, Alice Springs to Darwin, used by NT Police to gather intelligence and evidence across 18 months. Arrested at Darwin Airport shortly after midnight, October 2022. Charged with commercial drug supply, extortion, conspiring to pervert justice, recklessly endangering serious harm, aggravated assault, and unlawful firearm possession. Prostate cancer diagnosis, concurrent with arrest. Resigned as national president, replaced by Tyrone Poole. Operation Morley total: 40 arrests, 140 offences, 34 firearms, $500,000 in cash. Detective Superintendent Morgan confirms the operation pivots immediately to targeting other motorcycle gangs upon Forbes' arrest. Here is what the record of Nick Forbes actually shows, and the question it leaves that nobody fully answers. A man who spent years building a reputation through violence inside one organization, then made a calculated strategic decision to abandon that organization and take its members somewhere more powerful. The 2013 defection was not loyalty, it was analysis. The Finks had a ceiling, the Mongols did not. Forbes saw that and moved accordingly. That kind of strategic thinking, applied to legal enterprise, would be called leadership. Applied to organized crime, it is called building a criminal empire. The same quality, different application. The first question: when a man with that capacity for strategic thinking is arrested at a Darwin Airport gate at midnight, is the story over? Or is it simply changing shape the way it has changed shape before? The second question is harder. Forbes faced cancer and criminal charges simultaneously. The combination produced a resignation that the charges alone might not have. A man whose entire identity was built around never backing down, stepping back from the top position because his body gave him no other option. Is that consequence? Is that justice? Or is it simply biology arriving at a pace the legal system never managed to match? For our community, the lesson is not about Nick Forbes specifically. It is about what the 2013 defection actually demonstrated. A large number of people, with their own agency, their own choices, their own futures, followed one man from one criminal organization to another because he made it seem like the rational move. Organized crime does not recruit people against their will. It recruits them by making the alternative look compelling. The question that Operation Morley cannot answer, and that no arrest can answer, is what makes that alternative look compelling in the first place. and whether we are doing anything about the conditions that produce the answer. What do you reckon? When a man builds an empire through strategic thinking rather than just violence, what does that tell us about what we are actually dealing with?